Hello, welcome to everyone. Let's start the multiple choice questions on Bnss 2023. Let's begin with part 1, Introduction chapter. Question number 1. What is the act number of newly introduced Bnss 2023? Here is option B is correct, which is the 46th of the 2023. Second question. Bnss 23 come into force from 1st July 2024. What is the title of newly introduced law for the criminal procedure in Indian judicial system? Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita 2023. Question number 4. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? Short title, extent and commencement is come in section 1. Audio video 2A, 21A, bail 21B, definitions is section 2. So the answer is B. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? Cognizable offense is 21G. Complaint is 21J. Electronic communications here is answer C is correct. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? Here option D is correct. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? Here option A is correct. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? Here option B is correct. Which of the pairs are correctly matched? Here option C is correct. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? Word and expression used in Bnss do not defined and not defined but used in Bnss and IT Act 2000 shall have meaning respectively assigned to them in that act and Sanhita. Is section 2.2. So it is answer D is correct. Which of the Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita bill was passed in the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita bill was passed in Lok Sabha on 20 December 2023. Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita bill passed on Rajya Sabha 21 December 2023. So option B is correct. The Bnss has been passed by both houses of the parliament and received the assent of President 25th December 2023. What is the name of the person who headed the 2020 committee to review the 3 codes of criminal law? Professor Dr. Ranbir Singh. Under Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, which of the following key focus area is strengthening the legal frameworks for the protection of citizens? Which regions are exempted from the provisions of Bnss, excluding those related to Chapter 9 and 12? Here option B is correct, the state of Nagaland and tribal areas. Which of the following chapters in Bnss applies to regions excluded from other provisions of the Act? Here chapter 9 is correct. So option B is correct. What is the purpose of excluding the certain regions from the most provisions of the Bnss 2023? To provide special legal frameworks for the specific areas. Question number 20. What is the primary objective of the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita 2023? Option C, to enhance the streamline provisions related to citizen and security. Which areas are specifically mentioned as having exceptions from the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita with the exception of certain chapters? So option B is correct. The state of Nagaland and tribal areas. How does Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita 23 ensure the applicability of its provision in different regions of India? So option B is correct. By providing specific exemptions from the certain areas such as Nagaland and tribal areas. What do chapters 9 and 12 of the Bnss related to primarily deal with? Special provisions for certain regions. Question number 24. Which of the following statement best describes the legislative scope of Bnss 2023? So it focused primarily on domestic laws related to criminal justice. In which scenarios would the provision of Chapter 9 and 12 of the Bnss become relevant when applying the Act's general provisions to the Nagaland and tribal areas? Which region benefit from the application of Chapter 9 and 12 in the Bnss? State and regions excluded from the most provisions of the Act. Under the Bnss, who has the authority to apply provisions of the Act to the state of Nagaland or tribal areas? The concerned state government. What action can the state government take regarding to the provisions of the Bnss for Nagaland and tribal areas? So here option B is correct. Apply specific provisions with supplemental, incidental or consequential modifications. What must the state government issue to apply provisions of the Bnss Suraksha Sanhita to Nagaland and tribal areas? Option C is correct. A notification is specifying the provisions and modifications. The provisions that a state government may apply to Nagaland or tribal areas can include option number B is correct. Any provisions with the modification as specified in a notification. What flexibility does the state government have when applying the provisions of Bnss to certain regions? So here option B is correct. It can modify, supplement or make consequential adjustments to the provisions. The notification issued by state government to apply the provisions of Bnss to the Nagaland and tribal areas which will include. So here option B is correct. Detail of the modifications, supplemental and incidental changes to be made. In what manner can the state government make notifications to be provisions applied to Nagaland or tribal areas? Here option C is correct. By specifying supplemental, incidental or consequential modifications in a notification. Why might the state government choose to apply certain provisions of the Bnss with modifications to ensure the provisions are tailored to the local needs and conditions? According to the explanation in Bnss, what does tribal areas specifically refer to? Territories that were part of tribal areas of Assam before January 21, 1972, excluding those within Shillong's municipality. Which of the following is excluded from the definition of tribal areas as per the Bnss? Tribal areas in the state of Nagaland, territories within the local limits of the municipality of the Shillong is the correct answer. What date is significant in determining the boundaries of tribal areas as defined in Bnss 2023? So option B is correct. January 21, 1972. The explanation in the Bnss excludes which types of area from being considered tribal areas? So option B is correct. Municipal areas within Shillong. The 39. The term tribal areas in